Hi everyone, it's Sarah. Today is Monday, February 24th. This is my FlossTube number 22. Thanks for following me on my cross-stitch journey. I'm excited to be back. I did a lot more stitching last week. I know I'd mentioned that the week before I stitched one day and did like not hardly anything that whole week. This week has been my most stitched week in 2020 so far, so that's exciting. I've done, I think the only other week that came close was the 24 hours of cross stitch week, and I still beat that by like 300 or 400 stitches. So yeah, I'm excited to have been back and doing stuff. I had another weekend almost entirely at home, which always helps with that. It doesn't happen all that often, so yeah. I talked a little bit. Oh, let's go back and start with some FlossTube videos. I got to watch a lot of FlossTube this week because I had a weekend where yesterday I was home by myself for like 10 plus hours. So like almost 12 hours. I think it was over 11 hours. I was at home stitching and watching FlossTube. So I got to catch up on a lot of FlossTube, a lot more than I normally do. I watched some of the market stuff. I kind of watched a little bit over the week, but yesterday I just kind of went kind of bonanza on the FlossTube. I watched some market videos. I wanted to talk about a little bit. I know y'all have all probably seen them, but you know, this is the stuff that I'm excited about, so I'm going to talk about it. Lindy Stitches, her video's fun to watch. She's got some fun projects coming out. Misty Pursel, her the one that I'm most interested in is the, here's a hot mess. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna be messing with it, but I need a haircut, and I don't like going and getting my haircut. I have, like, I don't like making small talk. I don't like people that I don't know touching me. I have all kinds of issues. So my husband's like going, you know what? I'll just cut it for you, and I might just take him up on it because it is driving me nuts. It's too long. It's been a long time since I've had it cut. It's terrible, but I don't like going to do that. And I don't know. Probably more than you need to know about me right there. But anyway, I'm gonna mess with it because that's just what is gonna happen, because I've got this on the portrait mode so that I can see what I'm showing and make sure I'm doing that right. So yeah, I like her, the bird on the coffee cup. I guess she said it was really a teacup, but and it just says first coffee, then the worm. And I totally 100% understand that. I'm terrible if I don't have my coffee. If I try to make a phone call, it's going to be awful. It's going to be terrible, terrible, terrible. I don't need to do that before I have my coffee. And she said email, and that's the same way. I just need to make sure that I know that I have my coffee before I go through any sort of motions of the day. Teresa Kugat, oh my gosh. She has some amazing stuff coming out. I think if there was like one store that I'd be like, I want everything that she's put out, that might be it. I don't know. But I would never stitch all of it because she's got so much coming out. I mean, she's got a book of 15 patterns coming out, which is something I want. It's $16. It's really inexpensive. I say I want it. I don't know how much market stuff I'm going to buy. I had said none, but then previews come out, and you know how that goes. I've mentioned this. I'm hoping to go to Galleria, and so I'm trying to save my pennies for that. We'll see. We'll see how many pennies I manage to save. But yeah, there's that. The Celebrations book is one that I'm definitely considering buying. The first coffee one from Misty Pursel is one I'm contemplating. Yeah. I didn't watch a FlossTube or anything, but the Sweet Tomato by the Scarlet House, I love that one. And that's one I feel like I might just break down if I'm at an LNS that happens to have it in their stock when I'm there. I may break down and just buy that one. I watched Liz Mathews and Kathy Barrick's video yesterday. They've got some fun stuff. Liz Mathews trees. I probably won't stitch them, but I really like the look of them. I don't know. I don't have a real good place to display something like that. I don't really Yeah, so, and I don't see, like, I feel like if I stitched it and didn't finish it right away, I would forget what I was supposed to do with it. So, but I think they're cute. And if my situation changes at some point and I end up with a ton more space, which is not going to happen, but if it did, I might consider buying those. I like the little straight pin cushion thing that Kathy Barrick showed. I think that's neat. It was a pin cushion, and they had straight pins put in it in dates that were important to whoever it was that did the piece. And then Kathy Barrick has translated that to cross stitch. So I think that would be a fun thing to do. And then other market preview video that I watched that I want to talk about is Autumn Lane Stitchery. I've been following them on Etsy for a while. I've never bought any of their patterns, but I might break down soon. That's another thing. It's PDF, so it's easier for me to justify than buying paper patterns, just because they take up virtual space on my phone, which I have plenty of, or my computer. I tend to store them in both places just so I have a backup. But I like storing them on my phone, because if I'm like, I just get a wild hair that I want to start something, I can look it up on my phone and figure out what fabric I need and what flosses I need, and I don't have to pre-plan for that. So yeah, I watched their video. It's really interesting. They talk a little bit about their cross-stitch journey and their design process, and I'm looking forward to seeing more videos from them in the future. It was a fun one to watch. Okay, non-market. I'm going to talk a little bit about FlossTube, because I spent a lot of time watching FlossTube this weekend. Ellen Reid, she's one of those people that if she puts out a video, I'm probably going to watch it that day. It doesn't matter what else is going on. I do watch FlossTube usually late at night after my husband goes to bed. I'll stay up and stitch for an hour or two and watch. That's when I do most of my FlossTube watching. I like it because it's keeping me company while I'm stitching. But yeah, Ellen Reid's latest video I watched. She's got a pretty good giveaway going on there. So yeah. Live from the SheShack with Dawna. That is new FlossTube. That was her FlossTube #1. She does a bit of a whip parade and some finishes, and I think she did maybe getting stuff mixed up because I watched so many videos, but I think she did a little bit of these are things I'm wanting to start in the near future. But her fabric choices are amazing. I love what she's done and what she's picked. So highly suggest watching hers. Watch Sunshine Stitchers. I hadn't watched them in the last few weeks. Just haven't been able to watch all of the FlossTube I want to watch. So I their latest video popped up, so I went ahead and watched that. They're always fun to watch. And they also have a pretty good giveaway going away. I did not enter for this one because it's probably just not something that I would stitch. It would, right away, and it would just kind of languish on my shelf. I did. I did put my my name in the hat, so to speak, for Ellen's. But yeah, this one, it's pretty amazing. And if I thought that I was going to pick it up and stitch, but I'd rather somebody be able to, pick it up that wants it. Just to add another thing to my shelf doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Nicole Needleworks is also doing a giveaway this time. Her video, she had lots of fun stuff in her video too. So but she's doing a giveaway. I did put my name in that one. For me to put my name in 2 different ones in the same week is not normal, because I don't typically put my name in for giveaways, because I have to know that it's going to be something that I want to stitch on right away. I don't want it to just sit on my shelf, because like I said, I don't have a lot of space, and I also feel like I'd rather it go to somebody who's going to stitch it right away. This is one that I think I would start if I had the stuff. So yeah, I put my name in for that one. Plus she's got just a ton of gorgeous stuff that she shows everyone. I don't do a lot of samplers, so it's always fun. I like watching people who do it. I love watching Carol and Brenda and the Cereal Starter, and people who do a lot of samplers. And I like samplers. I just don't have any on the go. I'm going to have to change that at some point. Maybe that'll be a gallery goal, is to find and kit up a sampler there. That would be fun. Xstitchmd. She put out her first video as well. She did a bit of a whip parade. She's got some big projects that'll be fun to watch her progress over time. She also shared some finishes that she's got recently finished and put on her wall. It was a fun one to watch too, because she just has a big variety of stuff. She does a lot of samplers as well. And then Christine Stitch All the Things, the What's in the Bag series she did, where she kind of showed what she had kitted up. It was like 2 hours. It was 2 videos, and I'm pretty sure I watched them back to back because it was just so fun watching what's in the bag. So yeah, I highly recommend. I'll try to link all of these videos down below. I think I'm going to start talking instead of, I know for a while there I was trying to do like a FlossTube spotlight, but I feel like anybody I talk to, if you're watching me, probably know about the people that I watch. But instead I'm going to just kind of like the videos, and they probably won't be as many as this normally because it won't have all the market previews and all of that, and I don't necessarily have as much time to watch FlossTube normally. But yeah, I think that'll be a fun little addition, as if there's like a few videos that something really caught my eye on what they talked about, or you know, if there's a giveaway that I think's worth entering in for me. I may talk about that. I don't know. I don't know what y'all think about that, but I like that. Like if somebody does some sort of tutorial that I think would be fun to make sure that y'all know about, because there's not enough time for us to watch all of the FlossTube that is out there, and I want to watch all of the FlossTube. So if there's something spectacular, I'd like to know that that exists. So that's my thought. I talked last week a little bit about my cross stitch organization. I kind of thought I would share a little bit about that today. I'm going to start with, I've shown this before, but it's been a while. And I've expanded because it was in a bin. This is just a Dollar Tree bin, and it was in one about half size, and I kind of half the size, and I kind of outgrew it. But this is just like my fabric remnants, offcuts, that kind of thing. Like if I do a larger piece and have fabric left over on the piece of fabric I buy, I'll cut it off and put it in here. I also have, just because it makes sense, when I did Mania last year, I had little note cards that I made, and then I found the fabric for it. So I've kind of left it in there because these are all 50 by 50 or less, so they're going to fit on these pieces. So I've just left them there because I put the work into doing that. After I do finish what I started last year, I may never want to do another one of these again, but you know, they're there. But yeah, there's just a variety of little small cuts here. I think the biggest one is probably 20 by 20. That was some stuff that my husband had bought that he wanted for a project, and then we ended up changing and doing different ones. So larger pieces of fabric, I tend to just buy what I need for projects that I need, because like I said, I don't have a lot of storage space. I do have a couple of pieces. I have projects lined up for them, but they're just in the plastic and sitting on my shelf, so there's no real special storage or anything like that. If I ever get to the point where I have a fabric stash, I'll have to figure that out, but right now I don't. I showed this a little bit last week. This is a envelope that my sister gave me for Christmas. I use this for like the small projects, like the little magazine tiny projects that I do, like the squid that I shared last week, and the little bats that I did, some of the Doreen Jones freebies, that kind of stuff I will put in here. I got this idea for Brenda Handwork Maniac. She talked about in one of her videos, she uses floss wave bags. These are the Hobby Lobby equivalent. It's all I have near me is a Hobby Lobby, and I like to be able to just go and get them when I need them. So this is what I use, and then I use a piece of acid-free cardstock. I write DMC and the number down. Pretty much right now all I use is DMC. I'm assuming at some point I will buy overdyed, but I'm not there yet. So, but I went ahead and put DMC because if I end up at some point getting a week's dye works, I want to be able to put that that's what that is, or color and cotton, which is probably more likely because at some point I'm going to make the trek up to her new store. I keep saying that. It's 2 hours away, and I think we're going to go up for my daughter's birthday, maybe, if everything works out. So that'll be next month sometime. So hopefully we'll be able to make that work. But yeah, I just this is Nicole showed how she puts her floss on her floss drops. I basically do the same thing where I stretch it out and I do it into 8 pieces, cut the ends, then I wrap it around. I have kind of a method here. Wrap it around 4 fingers, and then that's like this big thing here. As I need strands, I'll take out 1 full length of 6 strands and pull out the piece I need. I do the loop method, so I just fold it over usually. If I'm stitching with one strand, so like if I'm stitching with I've got a couple of heights that I'm doing with one strand, 1 over 1, all of that, I'll cut it in half and just stitch with half the thing. And then so the rest of that strands from that go here, and I wrap it around 3 fingers, and then anything that's left over, so like if I cut it in half, or if I stitch and there's still enough that I feel like I could get a few pieces of confetti stitching out of it, I'll just wrap it around 2 fingers and put it there. So they're kind of different sizes, so I can tell by looking at them just what I'm looking at. So that's how I do that. And in the front of this bag, I have, this is for a couple of projects I've got that I'm planning on starting this week. One of them's going to be, I think, like a one-night stitch sort of thing, couple hours. It's pretty small. And then the other one, I just went ahead and pulled the thread for while I was in there. And I'll show you what there is in just a second. And then in the back, just the fabric that I'm planning on using for those 2 projects. My scissors and everything else that I need, needles, all of that are near my chair, so it's easy for me to just grab that as I need it. And then the way I store those bags, this is what I talked about last week that I got. This is an iris case that I bought at Hobby Lobby. I will link this in the description. And then I just used legal size cardstock. This is just something we had on hand, but you could probably use chipboard or whatever. And basically these fit almost perfectly 3 apart, 3 across. So I just did 2 dividers out of the legal cross stitch cardstock. And yeah, I just store in there. I will need to get a second one of these because this is almost full, and I'm nowhere. That's probably about half the floss, half the DMC floss. I don't have all of them, but I would like to eventually. And it seems to be happening slowly because it seems like every time I want to start a new project, I have to go buy a new floss because I don't have it in my stash yet. So even with liking a certain color palette and working on projects that you think are in that same color palette, there's just always some kind of, random stray color that you need. So yeah, I like that. I will link that too in the description. I know it's on their website, so yeah. And the last part of organization I want to show you is I just have this little options box also that I got at Hobby Lobby. I keep floss that I need to organize here. Actually, these right here are my extras, but I need to put those in the bags because I just put them in. I'll slide them in behind the card if I've got a full skein, and that way I can, if I'm running low, I can just look at the back and know I have to do that. But normally if I go buy flosses, I'll put them in here that I know I need to go ahead and put in the bags. I keep my index cards there, not index cards, but cardstock that I've cut down, the bags. And then one thing I've done is at the bottom, I've put the size so that if I need more, I just have to look at the bottom to see what size I make the card. So, because it's not like, 3 by 4 or whatever. It's a 3 5/8 by 3 1/4 by 4 5/8. So I never remember. So it's nice to just have that so I don't have to measure every time. Extra needles, Sharpie that I use to label the card. And then the other thing I have in here, because I am transferring my old DMC floss, like the stuff I've had for forever, from Stitchmd to the bags. So this is just what the length is. So if I have something that's smaller, I can do out the length this way. Most of the time I just fudge it and just try to make it close, but it is there if I want to do that. And then this needs to go with my scrapbook stuff for like books and stuff, but this is the floss away, or not the floss away, but the Yarnology baggies that I get at Hobby Lobby come with these book rings. So I just have put them in there as I've opened a package, but I'm running out of room and I need to move those. So yeah, that's my basic organization. I have a couple more things that I'll show you as I go through my whips for the week, but that's kind of how I store my floss and my fabric. Like I said, I don't have a lot of fabric, so I just buy what I need for projects I need because I don't have a lot of space to put it in. Next, speaking of fabric, I did have a little bit of acquisition this week. Went to Hobby Lobby on Friday to get, I needed some flosses, so I went and to get those, and my husband went with me, and we picked out this 7-count Artiste cluster in burlap. This is what I had mentioned that whenever I shared that I had got this Prairie Schooler. I should hold that back a little bit further. I got this and with the intention of doing it large. When we were at Stitches Incorporated, I think that's the name of the store in Memphis that I went to a couple of times last year. They have a display piece of one of the Prairie Schooler Santas. I don't know if it's this one. It might be. I really don't remember. But my husband was really taken with the size of it. And he really likes that kind of pixelated thing with cross stitch. I think that's part of what draws him to cross stitch is just the use of pixels, so to speak. So my thought is what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one because this is the one that the two of us agreed we want large. That is why we picked this one. And what I'm going to do is stitch this on the burlap, see how I like that, on the cluster, I mean, and then make that like a center of like a gallery wall. See, this is dreams for a house different than this because I don't have room, I don't think, for a gallery wall of any size, shape, or form. But do this big one in like the 7-count. And then do other ones in various Ada sizes, like do a couple in 11 and then do some in 14, 16, 18, and just have them in like neutral browns, but not the same brown, but kind of in this kind of collage style. I don't know. I like the idea. I'm going to get this done first and see what I think of that before I decide. But yeah, I'm excited about that. And then I had to get needles. And I just went straight out of order from my notes because I needed to show my whips before I showed my last acquisition. But it's fine. I'll work it out. Last thing is Sulky Silver Metallic. My husband and daughter went to Arkansas yesterday, and I was like, if you have time and you want to stop by Joann and get me some of that. So he surprised me, and he did. I know that we're going to be back down before I need it, so and he knew that too, so I really didn't expect him to stop for it, but he did. He had my daughter call him and say, have your mom send the link so I know what to get. So I was like, yay! And the reason I got this is I read that it's great for gridding, and I have to dig now. I'm planning on starting this Heaven and Earth Walking Melons Possibilities of Evolution Rainbow. This is regular max color for my daughter on her birthday, which is March 20th. So I have some time, but I want to grid up the fabric because I'm going to do, I think, by color. I'm not going to do like most color to least color or least color to most color. I'm going to start in the top left corner. I'm going to do all of that. The very first one is 310, so I'll get a couple of skeins of 310 because I'm going to do this 28 count over 1. So that should be all I need for that. It's mostly in this area, so I'll be able to get a good foundation with that color. And then I'm just going to move across and do that. I'm using Pattern Keeper on this, so I'll be able to do that fairly easy. See how that goes for me. But yeah, I'll have to grid. So this way, when I get the fabric, I'm just buying the 30 by 36 Zweigart 28 count that they have at Hobby Lobby because I can get it for like $12. So yeah, and it's going to be pretty big, and she doesn't know. I mean, she's still at home and she's wanting to live small, so I don't want to make it huge. She told me she couldn't move out until I had it finished because she would have to plan a space for it. So yeah, we'll see how well that lasts because we all know that I am the world's slowest stitcher. So now let's talk about my stitching. Finally, I'm all over the place this time. Oh no, dropping stuff. It's okay, I'll get it in a minute. So I have to use this as a background because I did not think to grab something. Ho 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 Santa by Prairie Schooler. I got to finish. I'm excited. I love Prairie Schooler. I really feel like, there's the you have to have a red sampler on the go. I don't have one of those, but I kind of believe that I should always have a Prairie Schooler on the go now. I finished my first one, and now I want to stitch all of them. I always wanted to stitch all of them, but that is amplified a little bit now. So yeah, this is from the 2014 Just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornament issue. I loves it. Next thing I worked on, these are just in the order that I stitched them. It's the easiest way for me to keep everything straight. So I'll talk about finishes and new starts as I go. I do have a new start, spoiler alert. But this is not it. This is Autumn's in the Air by Faye Walsh of Little Dove Designs. It is in the, this is the piece of paper that I dropped, of course. It is in the September 2019 issue of Cross Stitcher magazine. And this is just a printout of the screenshot. I get it digitally through Reidly. That is not focusing. There we go. I'm just doing this top panel. This is the whole sampler just so you can see it, but I am just doing the top panel. And I'm so excited because I got the house finished. And I started on the tree. I had a moment of delusion where I was like, I'm going to be able to do a tree a day, or you know, whatever. There's a fox and a dog and a girl walking the dog and a bunch of trees. And I was like, I'll do a tree a day. And no, there's a lot of stitches. And this is at like 32 count, 1 over 1. So it takes a while to do those little stitches. But I'm still really happy with my progress on that this week. Next is my new start. And this I can show you a little bit more about my organization. This is Sleepy Kitten by Claire Comerford. This is from the February 2016 issue of World of Cross Stitching. A couple of years ago, 2018, Christmas, I gifted the members of my family, like my brothers and sisters and parents, and their, my brother and sister's spouses, a cross stitch, kind of their choice from a select amount of, you know, like I gave them some choices and like, here's some you might like, and pick one of them. And then, you know, because there's a lot of fandoms and I did a lot of fandom type choices, I was like, you'd also pick from anybody else's. So my sister-in-law does not live near us, and she did not celebrate Christmas with us. This is my husband's sister. She did this past year, but not the year before. But I had sent her this as a possibility. This is the Sleepy Kitten, and I sent it back in August, and she sent me a message saying, I think I want that one, and this is not focusing, but it's pretty cute. Little kitten sleeping in a cup, and she likes cats, and she likes tea, so it was a good choice. So I started on that. Started up here on the daisies, and then I decided to move down. So there's still more daisies over here that I need to do, but I wanted to move down and make sure that I was going to have enough space. I will. I think it's going to end about right there. So I'll end up actually with more of a bottom border than a top. I have about a 2.5 inch border right now. So I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously width-wise, it's a lot wider than it is tall. So I'll have plenty of space. This is on 28 count Jobelin. This is one of the pieces that she actually got me for my birthday. My sister-in-law got me for my birthday last year because I wanted to kind of get an idea of the difference between Jobelin and Lugana, because I didn't know. And I also have some Monaco now that I'm going to get to try to stitch on. So I'm excited about that. I've got that. That'll be a start probably this week because it's a small one, the one that I'm going to start with on that. And then the little bit of organization with this is I made these little floss books, I guess, for lack of a better term. They just hold. They're just felt, craft felt with a piece of quilting fabric sewed to it. I just hand stitched, blanket stitched around it. It's not fancy. It's not perfect. And then I pamphlet stitched cardstock in. So if you see right here, it's just embroidery floss that I used to pamphlet stitch the floss in. The middle piece is doubled over and glued, so the tie is actually in between where the thread is actually in between here. You might be able to see that that's doubled over right there. And so this way I can just take one 6-strand piece and have it in the book. They don't really go anywhere. If I worked hard enough at it, I'm sure they would, but I don't plan on doing that. And as you can see, there's still a couple that I need to buy for it or locate one or the other. They may still be. I've only done about half my projects like this, so I still have a bunch to go through. But yeah, I really like this. It's nice for I don't need to do it for like the small projects that I'm planning on finishing within a week, because I know that if I need one of those colors, I can just go to that project. It's easy enough. It's in the box. If it's not in the box, it's going to be in one of those. And I make these for myself in 3 different sizes. So I have this, which is a 1/2 sheet of felt folded over. I do one that's this size, that's just the sheet of felt folded over, and it'll hold about 14. These hold 8. No. Yeah, 8. So per page. So you can get like 40 pieces of floss or something like that in one of these. And then the other one, if I'm just doing like a dozen colors or something, I'll do it a 1/4 sheet of felt folded over. So it'll hold like 5 per page, which is still, you know, a good amount. So, and then sometimes I'll do them with inside pages, and sometimes it'll just be the outside and then the cardstock in the middle. I can kind of, as I finish projects, I can cut these out, cut out these pamphlet stitches, put new cardstock in, or I could also, if I know that I need it to be the exact same size with the same amount of interior pages, I can just cross out the color and put a new number up on top. So I really like this. This is working really well for me. I just started doing this towards the end of last year, and like I said, it's still a process. I think I'm going to pull out my sewing machine this week and try to just sew up a bunch of covers, because it's faster than this. This is something I was just doing while I was watching TV earlier this week, and I was like, I just grab that out and do it. But it is time consuming to do it that way. The pamphlet stitch and doing the interior pages takes like 3 minutes. It's not any time at all. I gotta hurry because my phone, I've already recorded this once today, and my phone cuts off after 40 minutes. So it's like maximum file size. So I'm trying to hurry through this, and don't know if I'm gonna make it. These are my Christmas projects from Mania. I've got a new plan because I've been terrible at getting these done. I'm sorry, I keep shaking the camera. So every Friday, and my thought was I was going to do it Friday and have it finished by the end of the weekend, but apparently I'm still delusional. So these were all, I did like 36 different ones because I couldn't stop at 31 like a normal person. Dawna Cooler's 555 Christmas cross-stitch designs. And I showed you the pieces in the, did I? Maybe not. Yeah, I did. Like I said, this is the second time I filmed this, so now I'm curious about whether or not I actually showed you the things I said. But I just have this card that says, I don't know why the focus is not doing auto. Page 48. I kind of put a description because they aren't. Santa with tree is not the name of the pattern. There's no names of the pattern. It is 36 by 36 inches. Not 36 by 30. That would be huge. Stitch count is 36 by 36. And this was the number 12 project. I do not have it finished, but I do have a fair amount of progress to show you. So at least I've got that. So this is, like I said, Santa with tree. This is kind of like a woodland European Santa. I have a bunch to do on his beard still, the tree, and then there's some more coat down here. And then some red berries in the tree, and then back stitching. So hopefully I'll have it done by Friday, because I really want to pull out a new one for Friday and try to get one done a week like I had originally planned. So at least I get to start some new stuff for Mania, but we'll go into all of that later. And I'll tell you one of the problems with some of these designs. It's right here, 15 colors in a 36 by 36 stitch. So yeah, there's a lot of color changes, but that's okay. I'm enjoying it. I think they're fun. I like the way they look. I think they'll make cute Christmas ornaments eventually. Okay, that is my stitching. Oh, I did also have some secret surprise stitching that I did. I can't share with you. You will see it at some point, probably next month. But I did quite a bit of that yesterday. Let's see. I think all I have left is the game. Sorry, I just got a big old mess. This is a little dusty. I didn't realize how dusty it was. It's kind of sitting on top of a shelf because it doesn't quite fit on our shelves. It's so big. But this is Blokus. This is an older game. This was one that we bought. Oh my gosh, 2004, 5-ish, maybe, a while back. We were living in St. Louis at the time. I know that because we bought it at Fantasy Shop in St. Charles. They had it out on display, and we were like, we want this game. If you live in the St. Louis area, Fantasy Shop is a great game store. I would highly recommend it. It was one of our first game stores that we ever visited, outside of the Wizards of the Coast store in Everett, Washington, and a couple of hobby shops that carried games. So, it was our like first real like board game table, and they do comic books too. So if you're into comic books, check them out for that too. This is the rules. It's pretty small, and then there's some additional game variations and stuff like that on the back. But it's pretty simple. You start with a blank board. It's just a grid, and everybody gets these kind of Tetris type pieces. They're obviously not Tetris-y shaped, but that is not. So you would start with your color in the corner closest to you. Everybody would have a starting corner, and then you would keep taking turns with other players, keep pushing them out. They actually stay pretty well because those are actually raised a little bit. Normally you would not have this. You would have it straight flat on a table, but you know, I don't have a setup to do that. And then while you're doing this, the other players are starting in their corner. And everybody's taking turns, and eventually you'll kind of start meeting in the middle and have to try to work your pieces around. You have to do it on the diagonal. So this is a legal move because it's touching at a diagonal corner. This is not, because it's touching all at the sides. So yeah, it's a fun little easy to learn fast game. If you're playing with 4 players, you would typically each play 2. You can also, there's a team variant with 3 players. I'm not a big fan of it with 3 players. It works well with 2, it works well with 4. At 3 players, the suggested rules are that the 4th player is played by all 3 players. So you're still really only playing one color to win, but you're playing the other color to try to block other players. And I don't know, I don't love that. This is kind of an example they give of what a board might look like at the end. There's bonus points if you are the first to go out. And I think there's even more bonus points if it's with there's one piece that is just a single square. You start with your big pieces and then work your way down to the small pieces. That means less points that you're going to lose. And it's easier to place those when you're trying to work around other pieces. So that is, it's a little abstract strategy game that I quite enjoy. And it's something that in recent years has been available at like Target and Walmart and stuff, so for fairly inexpensive. So it's one that I highly suggest. Its age rating on it is 5+. It's pretty quick. Let me see if it tells what time. It does not, but I don't think it takes more than like 15-20 minutes to play. It's been a little while since I played it, but it's pretty quick and pretty fun. So yeah, I like puzzle games, if you haven't noticed, and this is a great puzzle game. So I think that's all I have to share with you today. I feel like I rushed through parts of that, but my camera cuts off at 4 gig, which is about 40 minutes. So, and I'm at 38:30, so I'm going to call this done and good. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Happy stitching. Bye.